Peace, power, people. You are listening to the Reverend and High Priestess Thema Azize Serwa. I am the visionary of the Womb Sauna, a global movement that is teaching women how to heal everything. And listen, I want to have a quick conversation with you about intentional abandonment. Now, most of the time when we talk about abandonment, it's in the context of the person who has been abandoned, who feels upset and needs some tools to process what has just happened. But I actually want to activate your capacity to abandon things and people. I actually want you to become intentional and strategic about when it's time for you to jump ship, when it's time for you to leave that person alone, when it's time to establish a healthy boundary and say enough already. I have had enough already. So not only will I walk away, I'm going to be intentional in how I do it. I'm going to be strategic in how I do it because I am ready to self-preserve. And self-preservation is the first law of nature. It is not wise to be the type of person that gives so much of your energy and your time and your resources and your essence and your ashe to everybody else and have nothing left for yourself. You are emotionally starving. Your nervous system is compromised. You're always in fight or flight mode because you have not learned how to abandon the people and things that no longer serve you and are no longer a match to your vibration. And why do we not walk away? Why don't some of us have the gift of goodbye? I want you to close your eyes as I ask this question, and it'll help you get an answer to that. What do you have to prove, and who are you trying to prove it to? See, when we don't abandon ship, when we're not intentional about abandoning people and experiences, we lay the foundation for superficial interactions and relationships. So you call somebody sister, but you're not in sisterhood with them. You lie and pretend like you're supportive and trying to help, but you really don't feel that way. It would be more integral for you to just say goodbye than to pretend to be authentic in your greetings and how you show up in your presence and your questions and all of that other stuff that we do. Because somewhere in our value system, we think it's more important to stay present than it is to say goodbye. But there is a time and season for everything. There is an appropriate time to say, I'm complete, I'm whole, I'm satisfied with this experience. And to do that is not always an indication of strife or indication of disharmony or discord. Sometimes you've had enough food on your plate and you're full. It doesn't mean you didn't enjoy your meal. It just means that you have eaten enough. Who do you need to say goodbye to? What do you need to say goodbye to? Do you need to say goodbye to your poor time management? Do you need to say goodbye to your self-neglecting behaviors? What is it that you are continuing to circulate, perpetuate, that you know is no longer serving you well? And when will you make the decision to abandon it? Sometimes being intentional about abandoning people and things is scary because you already know that the minute you call your energy back to yourself, what was feeding off of your energy or who was feeding off of your energy will no longer be able to survive. Because you're clear about the dynamic of toxic codependency. You're clear about the value and the worth of having access to who you are and what you do. But I'm telling you, my love, some of you listening right now need to jump ship. Some of you right now need to call your energy, your time, your resources, your accessibility back to yourself. You need it for you. You need it for the people you're in relationship with who see you correctly, who experience you at that vibration that you are at. And they're not stuck in the illusions and their unhealthy expectations and the unhealthy pedestals they've sat you up on. And now they're mad that you've kicked over the pedestal because you are more committed to honoring the truth of being who you are without feeling like you have to be that for everybody else. I want to talk to those of you listening who are in leadership or are called to leadership. You need to master the art of intentional abandonment. You need to know where your lines are, and you need to know how to draw them, and you need to know how you will respond if people cross them. No, people that you serve do not have the right and are not entitled to come for you and blast negativity and negative energy because they simply don't understand how other people love you, or they don't understand why you're able to do this, or they have these expectations that are unreasonable of you because you have an EIN, or because you decided to venture into entrepreneurship. Yes, you get to be human and divine at the same time. Yes, as a leader, you get to have boundaries and enforce them. Yes, you get to be a person before you are addressed as a business. Yeah, you get to have the space to lead at a high level, make mistakes, correct your mistakes, and move through your life. And the people who don't respect that, understand that, they want to suffocate the breathing room you've created for yourself to stand up in the next stature that God is calling you to. You need to abandon them and say goodbye. Because they're slow drain to your energy. They're disruptive. They're attention seeking. They want you to prove to them who you are. And the days of you proving who you are as a leader are over for you. That's not what you need to do with your energy right now. Right now, you're mastering the art of being who you are. So yes, leaders, there's a time where you have to look at the very people that you love to serve and be present for and accountable to and say, hey, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for me. And hey, the way you think I should do it does not override the way in which I feel I need to do this for myself. This is my journey. Some of you, this dynamic is showing up in your family relationships. Keep trying to be everything for them when you need to be everything for you. You're so concerned about how they will experience you that you are limiting how you show up. Some of you are experiencing this in the workplace. You're so caught up in how your coworkers and how your boss will see you, and whether or not you being your authentic, transparent self will impact your next raise, and you deny being who you are because you want to play by the right rules. And sometimes you got to do that to survive. But at what point do you come out of survival mode and you abandon the status quo? And you return to yourself and you stand in your full stature of being who you are. At some point, you got to choose you. And not apologize for that. Some of us are scared to be intentional about abandoning experiences and people because we are loyal to being the nice one. We don't want to be seen as mean. We don't want to offend. When you start practicing being intentional with your abandonment, you will learn how to lovingly offend. So it's unrealistic to think that you can transform yourself outgrow people and experiences and nobody feel no type of way. That's not realistic. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to say, hey, I love you. I want the best for you. But I really don't resonate with you the way I used to. Right? See, we're so busy trying to avoid conflict that we can't resolve it. We're so busy trying to avoid conflict that we can't resolve it. We're so busy trying to assume the best of a person instead of facing the reality of what they have shown up with and what they continue to do that nobody wants to talk about, that neither people involved in the exchange want to address. And then we lack integrity when we have the conversations outside of the person where no real change can occur. So instead of coming back to the source of what I'm feeling because I lack conflict resolution skills, I'd rather go to my friend over there or my cousin over there or this person over there and talk about how I'm feeling. Because I don't even trust myself enough to speak my truth in a way that just might create some healthy change or healthy closure. And so we have to become good stewards of that energy. And what happens karmically when you are misusing the energy of what you're feeling. Nobody is saying you can't be hurt, you can't be sad, you can't be angry. But what do you do with your hurt, your sadness, your anger? What do you do with being fed up with someone or an experience? How do you channel that energy? And it's important that you're aware of how you channel it, because how you channel it can either bless the situation or curse it. The only thing you're responsible for is how you show up in experiences. So, my loves, the energy is ripe to reflect, become rigorously honest about how you are interacting with people and experiences. And if you're done, be done. If you need to discover where you are within an experience or within an interaction with someone else, do the work, have the conversations, sit with yourself, think about it, meditate about it, ritual about it. If you want to transform an experience and take it to a whole nother level, you got to dive all the way in. Can't just tip your toe in and then move around your life saying, why am I not swimming? My toe is in the water. You can't swim with just your toe in the water. You got to dive in. And you either want to float or sink. But it's time for you to really take your mask off before you have the nerve to ask anybody else to. It's time for you to communicate at a high level and be more transparent and honest about how you flow before you try to throw a stone at somebody else. It's time for you to see what's in your eye before you trying to pick a log up out of, somebody else's. You really, really, really gotta face this stuff. And there are some things, some experiences, some relationships that if you really are honest with yourself, you need to abandon. You need to just walk away from and say, I'm full, I'm complete. I've had my fill. Take a deep cleansing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. When you have to say goodbye, there's a process of grief that comes with that. Especially if it was an experience that you loved, enjoyed, it was an interaction that you cherish. You can cherish interactions and still say bye. You can. You don't have to go from one extreme emotionally to the next. You can find harmony. Even in the experience of having to be the one to abandon. There's still peace for you if you choose it. And so, as you think about what we've been talking about and you come up with your plan, I would like to offer that you plan your grief. You'll have grieving moments. There'll be certain triggers that'll make you remember, oh, such and such did me that. I can't believe that. Believe it. Listen, I had to have a heart-to-heart with myself a couple years ago where I had unrealistic expectations about being human. I felt like there were certain things that I did not deserve to experience, as if I was so far above the human experience. And this really helped me with my conflict resolution skills, because when I would get offended or hurt by people, I literally would go straight into my ego and feel like, how could they do that to me? How dare they be human and imperfect? How dare they feel like they could do that to me? I don't deserve that. I'm above that. And the reality was, it's easy to say that until you're the one who's hurt somebody. Until you're the one who has disappointed somebody. Until you're the one who made a mistake and your imperfections show. Suddenly you want compassion that you don't give. Suddenly you want compassion that you don't give. And so, in getting clear that Earth is the classroom, we're all here to learn something. In the process of getting clear about that, you know what happened? I mastered how to address what bothered me instead of sitting down and being bothered. I learned how to ask different questions. Because see, when you're in your ego, your questions are accusatory. Instead of asking, hey, help me understand. Hey, I really am feeling a certain type of way. Hey, now it becomes, look at how you show up. Look at how they treat me. Look at what they do for such and such over there. When you can look at an experience, be satisfied that, okay, I feel like I've had my full of this, and not feel the need to tear the person down that's involved just because you feel complete. That's when you really have matured emotionally and spiritually. Now you have a greater capacity to serve because you've learned self-compassion and you accept the humanness that's in somebody else. Because when I rejected it, God said, let me give you the very experiences you judge. Let me give you the very experiences you judge so you can see what it's like from the other side. Because you are too attached to your perspective and you're showing your ass because you think you see this so correctly and that your way of seeing it is the only way to see it and experience it. But there's beauty in diverse perspectives. Everything in nature shows us. I don't want to just give you one butterfly. Let me give you several species of butterflies. I don't want to just give you one bird. Let me give you several species of birds. Let me show you that all is well, even if it's not your way of doing it. Do you have to default to drama, disharmony, tossing stones, being vexed. This is the last part I will say on this and we'll wrap up. You know, part of it was I used to take the imperfections of other people and use that as an excuse for why I didn't have things that I wanted in my life in that moment. I would snatch other people's hardships, trying times, imperfections, lack of knowledge, and lean on them as a crutch for why things weren't functioning well in my house or my business or my experience or my career. It must be because my supervisor doesn't see my value. It must be because this mentor doesn't really understand me, and maybe they getting jealous because they think that I might outgrow them, or maybe, and I would make shit up in my head. I was making stuff up in my head that had nothing to do with the reality that I did not know how to interpret what I was experiencing without casting stones. I didn't know how to abandon the ship without having to toss the whole boat over. I didn't know how to say goodbye peacefully. I had to stir something up. That's all I knew at that time. I want you to be intentional about your abandonment. There's a time and season to say goodbye, and there's a way to do it that does not require unnecessary confrontation, unnecessary drama, unnecessary pain. Protect your peace, preserve your integrity, and heal everything. I hope this was food for your soul. It felt good to talk it out. Talking is therapeutic for me. And so coming and sharing these conversations really are nourishing for me. I hope it leaves you feeling a little more enlightened, a little more nourished, and a little more empowered. And if you want to continue marinating in that energy, I invite you to connect with me at thewombsauna.com. Let's do some work together. Let me hold sacred space for you and help you go up. And I hope to see you at one of our events. We do womb meditation classes. We do a phenomenal retreat called Elevation Weekend. There's a lot of amazing things that we are doing in the world that will support you in the things you want to do for yourself. So know that I love you, and comment below and let me know your thoughts on intentional abandonment. Peace.